Ravens Wrap is sponsored by Bud Light, jctickets.net, Geico Insurance, Dunaway Furniture, Ocean City Golf Club, RussellStreetReport.com, Comfort Inn Gold Coast, Holiday Inn Express, BuyAToyota.com, your official site for Toyota deals. The original Green Turtle, hosted by the Blue Ox Bar and Grill.
And welcome back. It is the original Green Turtles Ravens Wrap Show on Comcast Speech TV, and now this season also on WNDT TV Channel 47. Extremely happy to be a part of broadening the reach of our show on Delmarva. Coming to you from the Blue Ox Bar and Grill, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City, and the Ravens Room with Ravens fans all across Delmarva, including Ravens Roos 44. Give yourselves a hand. We want all Ravens fans to come on down. We want to fill this beautiful Ravens room here. You got to check it out, and when you do, take lots of pictures. It's one of a kind here on Delmarva. Hey, we've got ticket giveaways, that is, also hotel stays, Bud Light prize packages as well, so we'd love to see you down here at the show. Doors open at 5:30. The show starts at 7, pretty much every Wednesday throughout the season, so make sure to stop on by. Also, like us on Facebook, Ravens Wrap at the Blue Ox. My name's Mike Bradley. To my left, Steve Slaza. To his left, Ocean City Mayor Rick Mann. And to his left, Buck Mann on the panel here for week number 3 in the NFL. Now, a little bit more recapping the 26-6 win over the Steelers. Let's talk some defense. And Steve, quarterback Lardarius Webb out for a second straight game coming into the contest against the Steelers. Now, I was still concerned, not as concerned because the Bengals present a little bit more of a passing threat. But still, nonetheless, the Steelers have Antonio Brown. They had Marcus Wheaton as a guy that they think highly of. I talked about last week on the show, who I'm surprised didn't get involved a little bit more. So they had a couple of threats there, along with the tight ends that they had. But still a concern when you're paying a lot of money to them. But it didn't end up affecting us. And the thing that happened too, Asa Jackson goes out of this game with a concussion, and yet the secondary still holds up. So you got to tip your cap, certainly first and foremost, to Jimmy Smith on Antonio Brown.
Well, I think the Ravens really, operate on a next man up philosophy, and being that we cornered the world on safeties and have 7 on the roster, it's not really a problem there with getting a safety. I mean, you've got a whole row right behind the bench, but those guys have done a great job of stepping in and converting, safeties coming in as your nickel back, and we basically have 3 safeties that are coming in, and there are times where we're running 3 safeties on the field at once, and one is the nickel, and it's fun to watch.
I guess with the Steelers, not as many threats as they had in the past. They've lost, I mean, you talked about last segment, but Emmanuel Sanders, the latest loss to free agency this past season, not having him out there probably helped the Ravens out a little bit now that he's with Denver.
Well, it did. I mean, you're looking at Antonio Brown, and if he's out for a while, then you shut him down. I mean, that really makes a huge difference for your defense.
And the Steelers, Buck, they've gone a little less from throwing the ball downfield to more of a dink and dunk offense, it looks like, to protect Roethlisberger out there.
And like Rick mentioned before, Polamalu, I mean, he's not what he was just a few years ago. And he was late getting on a lot of things in that game. So.
Yeah, and they expected, and to that point, I mean, their defense used to creating points or creating opportunities and points for their offense, or getting some points themselves. The Ravens are used to that as well, but that certainly didn't happen. But one of the things I guess that stood out now, Matt Elam, who we drafted last year out of Florida to play strong safety initially, he had to play free safety because the Michael Huff experiment didn't work out. So he was playing out of position, not his best. We know as a strong safety in the box. That's where he's played best. But article that's come out in the Sun, and he played this against the Steelers in a slot position at safety. Now, I didn't think covering receivers or period was his strength necessarily, but he did a pretty good job in the slot the other night.
I think those guys have been able to, hop in as, the nickelback and covering the slot receiver where, they're not responsible for covering as much ground, and it's really worked out for us because we've got a number of athletic safeties.
Well, and that's what he said, because by getting Matt Elam in the slot at a safety position, it gets some other guys on the field that we're deep at, carrying, 5-6 safeties the way we do. And, Mayor, you know this, that with the fact that if you can get a safety on the field that can cover but also play the run well, when you have to go nickel, but you've got a guy that can play the run, then you're not as susceptible to giving up a big play on the ground.
Absolutely. It makes a big difference, and they're able to get back, but they're also able to come in and stop the run. So that's going to be a big plus moving forward.
Yeah, because, we see teams that they love to spread out the ball and throw all over the place, but Buck, they can also hit you with a run, and your secondary guys aren't usually the ones to make big tackles against mean running backs.
They don't want to tackle those big running backs.
I've always thought safety is one of the most athletic guys out there because he covers everything. and he can come up, he can drop back, So if you got a safety that can do all that, you're in good shape.
Yeah, let's see how that plays throughout the year, because I'm sure he's going to face some better, probably receivers, though, playing that slot position, but we'll have to see. But right now, Steve, that's a strength if he can play that position and also give us some run defense there in the nickel.
Well, it's really, and the Ravens are stocking up on these because Harbaugh is such a believer that your safeties are your best special teams players, which he's right. Those guys are linebackers of the 1970s. They're 225, but now they're running 4.5 and 4.4 40s, and I would hate to get hit by something that big running that fast, and we've got 6 or 7 of them. So.
Yeah. I thought one of the things that we had not seen a lot over the last couple of years, and I know that a lot of our linemen are more guys that are there to take up blockers and to allow our linebackers to roam free in the 3-4, but I thought the down linemen, and we had some 4-man fronts as well at times, they got a great push all night long, and we didn't really have to come after Roethlisberger with a blitz. Yeah,
well, you've seen they actually move Pernell McPhee in there and Upshaw, into that position, which, you talk about Dean Pease, for as hard a time as he gets, I'll admit, I'm one of the guys giving him a hard time. For as much of a hard time as we give him, he does some very creative things. So it's not what you would think of doing, but, it's very successful when he does it.
I think it was the offensive line that got worn down, the Steelers, not the defense of the Ravens. And I think that's where the game starts to turn.
And Buck, anytime you can get a push from your lineman without having to blitz, you're in good shape there.
That's a big asset. There's no question on that. But Rick hit it right on the head. I think their offensive line did kind of wear out. And, I've always been a believer, if the offensive line, weakens, you're susceptible to getting really quarterback sacked, losses, the whole bit.
Yeah, and usually it's the other way around, the offense taking the defense, but you guys are right, it was the other way around. And that's always been an issue with the Steelers the last couple of years. They've tried to address it, but the offensive line's still not where it needs to be.
It isn't.
And one of the areas we talked about that the Steelers were weak at right tackle with Marcus Gilbert, Elvis Dumervil twice taking advantage of that, and they put him on the left side, not Suggs, and he got a couple of sacks out of it.
Yeah, Gilbert was in no way up for that match. Dumervil just ran past him at will.
And Dumervil knew he was going to do it, too. He could feel it.
Yeah, I guess the one thing that stood out, though, they did not gash us in the run game, but still, Le'Veon Bell able to bounce some plays outside. We've got to do a better job of forcing the run back to the inside, Steve.
He was incredibly tough to tackle. There were times where he was just, messing around, shifting left, shifting right, and we had 5 guys who were doing the same thing and in nowhere near shape to tackle him. So, Pittsburgh's going to see the films and realize they could run on us more than they did.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, that about wraps it up with the win over the Steelers, and obviously big with being a division game, 1-1 against the AFC North so far. Big game coming up against Cleveland, which we'll preview. I did want to talk some quick news and notes. A big name that was held out of practice, well, I shouldn't say held out, but a big name that did not practice on Wednesday, and this is when we do the show, is quarterback Joe Flacco. Now, undisclosed reasons, a source, according to Aaron Wilson, saying that it's nothing to be worried about. So I guess you have to kind of take it at their word, but that's not a name that you're used to hearing not being in practice, especially in a divisional game week like this.
We're just trying to get him ready for Tyrod.
I think
Tyrod
so, too. Just trying to make Cleveland concentrate on another guy. Flacco hasn't missed a game yet. He's going to be there Sunday.
All right. Now, the couple other guys that did not practice today, left tackle Eugene Monroe, also for undisclosed reasons. Now, something I'm concerned about, though, Steve, we've already lost a couple of defensive linemen during the preseason, and Brent Urban and Capron Lewis Moore to injuries. So the defensive line is, 5 deep, I believe, right now. Timmy Jernigan, the draft pick out of Florida State, he's got a meniscus tear. Now, he may miss 1 to 2 games. What they're saying is they're trying to avoid surgery and trying to have him just manage the pain. But we really can't afford. There's a guy that we were really counting on to be a big spark plug on that defensive line. And if he's not 100% or close to it with his meniscus as the year goes on, that could be an issue.
Yeah, we were talking about, you and I before the show, that we picked up a lineman after the first game who was on Cincinnati's roster. Maybe time to slide him into the rotation. I don't know that you really want a rookie playing on a torn meniscus.
No. Well, we'll see if, that's something that the Browns or opponents are bottom line are going to take advantage
You're
of
going
it.
to have more than a 4-man rotation, so you're going to have to make an adjustment somewhere.
Yeah, at some point. Now, I don't know if they're going to sit him out this game or not. We'll certainly have to see. But you're right. At that point, it would take it down to 4. So they'd
have more than that.
They'd have to do something. Although I guess Pernell McPhee could be
well,
that
that's
fifth
what I was
guy.
saying with Pernell McPhee and also Upshaw. You don't think about that, but they
Yeah, they
used
can
him
move him in.
in the
Yeah, that's a good
rotation.
point.
So I think when you have a 270-pound linebacker, he can rotate up.
You could put him in there. Now, Asa Jackson, the good news is after suffering the concussion last Thursday against the Steelers, he is practicing. He was cleared from all the tests so far with concussion, so he likely will be back out there. The big news, though, Lardarius Webb, he is practicing and likely will start Sunday against the Cleveland Browns. That'll be a big boost to the secondary. And no offense to Shockey Brown, he did okay against the Steelers on Thursday. Certainly they held up as a defense as a whole, but that would slide him to the bench. I don't think anybody's going to be crying in their beer about that.
Well, I'm going to wait, and we'll see if this actually turns out happening, because we've heard for two games that he was going to end up playing, and it didn't happen. So we will see in our defensive backfield.
Yep. So that's those are news and notes there. Now, the NFL, they've changed some policies in terms of their drug policies. Not to go into a whole lot of detail, but some players are going to be able to come back and play right away. But Josh Gordon, not one of those guys, though. He did plead guilty to the DWI down in North Carolina. I think right now he's looking at hopefully just having 10 games reduced down from 12, but he will not be a threat, obviously, in this game, and I'm not sure when we play Cleveland next on the calendar if we would see him maybe.
I think we play the Ravens and the Browns play. They
Maybe
probably play the last game of the year.
Last game of the year. Okay,
so Gordon should be back.
We'll see him. We'll see him at
and
that
they're
point.
a different team with Josh Gordon.
Yeah, they most certainly are. All right, there's a lot to get to here. Coming up in the next segment, we will preview the Cleveland Browns game. Ocean City Mayor Rick Meehan, he's going to give us the breakdown of the Browns in 2014, and it's not the same old Browns that you're used to seeing. So we'll get all the skinny on that, and we'll also take a look back at their big win over the New Orleans Saints last week as well, and how they went about doing that. More to come here on the Ravens Wrap Show. Again, we'd love to see you down here at the Blue Ox Bar and Grill in the Ravens Room, 127th Street and Coastal Highway in Ocean City. Ravens tickets to give away, and in fact, next week on the 24th, we're giving away our first pair of tickets to the 28th game against the Carolina Panthers. So come on down. Get the tickets that we give out, put them in the jars, and give yourself a chance to win. Lots more to come. The Ravens Wrap Show right here on Comcast Speech TV and WNDT TV Channel 47. Keep it here. We're back next.
In April 1959, Art Wall won the Masters, edging out Carey Middlecoff and Arnold Palmer by finishing birdie, 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 par birdie. 1 month later, Ocean City Golf Club celebrated the opening of their first 18 holes. That course has been transformed now into one of the most scenic golf layouts on the East Coast. Come experience 36 of the most beautiful and challenging holes you'll find anywhere. Ocean City Golf Club in Ocean City, Maryland.
Come see us at Blue Ox.
Welcome to the Comfort Inn Gold Coast. Conveniently located just 1 block from the beach and adjacent to shopping at the Gold Coast Mall and the movie theater. Newly renovated and open year-round with a marvelous bayfront view. Visit us on the web at comfortgoldcoast.com and see our hot deals and great golf packages, or simply call our direct reservation line to plan your stay.